Welcome back to Let's Play Metroid 2 Return of Samus for the Super Game Boy. Last time we wrapped up Phase 4, and today we're heading into the two shortest phases in the game, Phases 5 and 6. So as you can no doubt tell from me pausing towards the end of the last video, there is but one Metroid to grab, and Phases 5 and 6 in particular are very small areas that are more or less very linear hallways from point A to point B. I don't really get the whole notion behind that either and why they chose to make them that way, but uh, for the sake of variety, I suppose. So, to make up for them being blandish areas in the remake, the unofficial fan remake, what was kind of cool is that in AM2R, they actually made those places into like their own thing. Like they made Phase 6 into this kind of gimmicky crystal mine area. But what's really special about Phase 5 on the other hand is that if you've read the instruction manual for this game, there's actually mention of another mission Samus has to accomplish going into SR388, and that is to find a Galactic Federation research team. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Look this up. It's in the instruction manual, and she has to basically see if there's any survivors. But because this is a 8-bit Game Boy game, I guess they didn't feel the need to like really include sprites for the Galactic Federation soldiers, or maybe they didn't have a concept laid out for what they'd look like, I suppose. Either way, they're not in this game visibly, but in the remake, there's actually a search and rescue team as well as a research team you run into on the way through SR388, and I thought that was a really cool touch. Hell, something I didn't tackle in my blind Let's Play is that there's actually a Galactic Federation ship you can go into that's kind of got all of their samples of whatever they found within the depths of this said planet, and I thought that was a pretty cool touch. AM2R kind of added heavily to the lore, the fan lore of this planet, of what would otherwise be just another Zebes, I guess. And it's just that kind of attention to detail, being able to look out for stuff that was just briefly touched upon in something as obscure as a manual. It's just like, wow. That is a love project through and through. Like how do you bring yourself to not only just like recreate Metroid 2 from the ground up and make it play better, but also be able to add extra story details that actually legitimately make sense, you know? What other fan projects can you think of that's done that, you know? And that is it for Phase 5. I am not kidding. That's about all we had to come here to do for. Wait, was that even grammatically correct? I don't know, but I don't care. So, if you don't feel like going out of your way for energy reserves or refill stations, much like Metroid 1, a lot of the larger enemies within the game actually carry like larger energy packets. So I guess Phase 5 would make a pretty decent place to grind off of for like energy reserves and shit before moving on to the next area. Not that you'd want to, because there's a energy bleh, energy capsule within Phase 6, so why bother? But I mean, the possibility is there. I do like how they actually gave the larger energy packets a more distinct sprite than they did in Metroid 1, so that's a nice touch. And that's going to kind of carry over into the later Metroid games as well. But again, you only get the large energy packets from the larger enemies, as opposed to it being RNG through whatever enemy you kill. So don't get too comfortable farming off of just about any enemy in this game just for a larger energy reserve. How on earth did I spend the next 3 minutes just talking about energy? Oh, Ken, you card. I never did like saying that word either. It's not something that really rolls off the tongue. Which is all the more reason I should point that out, but I digress. So to find Phase 6, you simply need to go back into the direction of where Phase 4 is at. And as you can no doubt tell, there are a grand total of 2 Metroids within Phase 6. So again, this shouldn't take long at all. And they're more or less the same Metroids we've fought previously, so not much new to see. It's just kind of an artificial way to kill time, I suppose. Because we're already over halfway through the game. I kind of consider the end of Phase 4 like the halfway point of the game overall. So, yeah, we're not too far from the end of the game. Metroid games aren't typically too long, and in the case of Metroid 2, even more so, it feels like. I'm pretty sure Metroid 1 is shorter, but, I wouldn't care. I'm only 2 videos in, and I already need a glass of water. My throat is killing me. Ah! So, one distinct feature of Phase 6 is that you have these little floating, blob things that are meant to be stepping stones? I'm kind of under the impression that they forgot that they put the space jump boots within Phase 4, and then they assumed these would be, like, a sort of interesting platforming gimmick. But no, they just kind of serve as a hindrance to get in your way. And even AM2R realized this and was like, you know what? Let's make them more than just collisionary objects. Let's make it to where when you jump into them, it slows down your movement instead of them just being a solid object all around. It's little touches like that that makes what seems like untapped potential actually come out in a much better way, shape, and form. I think these things had pretty weird names too. Weren't they called like flits? Somebody in the comments, please answer that question. Apparently my enemy lore isn't all what it's shaped up to be. And yeah, once you get the Metroid over in this direction, you can head over here and get the other Metroid. So it's kind of like a branching path kind of area, sort of. Like you can kind of just pick and choose whichever path you want to go through to fight the next Metroid. Not that the game hasn't already done that in some way, shape, and form, but you know. The gimmick is shown off yet again for the sake of adding some kind of diversity to this game. And now we have the flits, but this time they act as Yoku blocks, much like the ones in Mega Man. I don't quite get the point of that, but okay then. I don't get why they put these things here either, because you can just kind of stroll along through the lava and be able to make it up to the door over here just fine. And there's not even that big of a repercussion for falling into the lava either, so it's like, Eh? That's probably why they changed it going into Super Metroid, where the moment you step into lava, you lose like 20 energy units by every second. Which is crazy to think about, really, but yeah. Thank God that missile battery was there, otherwise I don't think I would have been able to make it far within Phase 7, which is where we're heading to next. Not gonna lie, I've been at odds struggling to think of stuff to talk about because I more or less drained a lot of those resources in the last video. Alright, maybe once I take a break between this and the next video, I'll probably have something new to talk about, I suppose. Because Phase 5 and 6 aren't very interesting sectors. They just kind of exist. And we're back within what could be considered the main hub area for SR388 as indicated by the music. I don't see why so many people rag on Metroid 2 soundtrack. I mean, yeah, it could be a lot more interesting than, you know, a few beeps and chirps and whistles, like in most other areas of the game. Which, I guess, was kind of an experiment to see how well they can nail atmosphere within an 8-bit game. But, I don't know, for the few musical pieces that actually do exist, I think they're pretty fantastic, honestly. I still think, and call me crazy, a lot of people are probably going to hate me for saying this, I still believe that the theme of SR388's main tunnel is the definitive theme for Samus, in my honest opinion. I absolutely love this song, and the remakes that AM2R gave it, pretty fantastic shit. Not gonna lie. I kind of like how instead of opting for a more GBA-esque soundtrack in AM2R, they tried to like aim for a more Prime aesthetic feeling soundtrack overall. And I'd say for AM2R, it worked out quite nicely. In fact, that's kind of what Samus Returns is shaping up to look like currently. It kind of seems like it has a lot of like tunes that seem somewhat similar to something you'd hear in a game like Metroid Prime 1, for example. I mean, I already heard the Kraid's Lair remix, so the possibilities are endless! Invincibility frame abuse at its finest. Oh! Well, hello there! I forgot you were there. Again, this game nails atmosphere so much better than the original because you have moments like that where it just keeps you in suspense for cases like that, and it's like, damn, that actually legitimately scared me. Yes, an 8-bit game scared me. What are the odds? I am not somebody who takes jump scares all too well. As generic as they may be. With that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end off the part here in just a few moments. There is a save station at the top of this whole ordeal. Here we are. And next time on Let's Play Metroid 2 Return of Samus, we're going to explore Phase 7 and run into a new evolutionary form of Metroid that we haven't seen yet. So, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys then.